So you probably clicked on the video because you're a new player, and I'm about to give you a lot of useful information about Foxhole that you need. Or you're not a new player, and everything I'm going to go over right now is going to be heavily scrutinized in the comment section. That's okay too. Let's get started. When it comes to Foxhole, teamwork is absolutely paramount, but that doesn't mean you can't play it solo. So when you open up Foxhole, you'll see over to the right hand, it says able and it says to change whether or not. If you click over there, you'll see that there are shard names, or there's servers, basically. When Foxhole gets massively populated, which it is pretty populated right now, it's just not there yet, they'll add able or a different shard name that you can click on. I generally stick to able because that's where, in my opinion, most of the population's at, and that's where all the action's going. But you just click play. When you click play, you'll be met with a screen that looks like this. I don't have it because I'm already dedicated to the Warden factions. But all you're going to do is you're going to hover over to the Wardens, and you're going to choose the Warden factions. Why? Because the Colonials suck. That's it. After that, it'll give you a quick little faction overview, your name, rank, days at war, and the casualties that are going on in the war right now. The war statistics are right here. I'm going to click deploy, and let's get into the home area. So you spawn in and you're on this island, and you're like, where do I go? What are all these things? They give you a code of conducts over here on the left hand side. You got this chat log, that's going on, that's going at 100 miles per hour when you get into the game. First thing you're thinking of, where's the tutorial? Don't do that. The tutorial is terrible. All right, if you click N, you look up here, there's a tutorial zone. Right near you, this is the way your character is facing. You got 2 deployment zones. You got logistical training, you got vehicle training up here, driving course. This is all neat, this is all fun. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Open up your options, look at the keyboards, go over the keys, and head straight to the deployment zone. That's all you're gonna do. Don't do anything else. Trust me, you can spend hours in the tutorial zone and you won't learn a thing. You'll learn how the basic game functions work, but not how the players play the game. So selecting a deployment zone is really simple. All you're doing is you're pressing E over here by the deployment area, and you're looking at the map. What do we see right now? It looks like the green, the Colonials, this is their zone. I'm on the Warden's faction, which is blue. And I'm just looking for where the action's going on at. If you hover over, Deadlands, you can kind of see, what the population's at. It is a contested region. All those little pings that you see that are coming up on those zones, it just means actions happen in there. That's all it means. You can go to the back line, and if you really wanted to learn logistics, I'd go all the way to Bassin, Sanak, and I would talk to somebody. Remember, the game's about communication and working together. There are hundreds of players that are willing to just walk you through stuff if you ask. Because the worst thing a new player can do is jump in a zone and start taking stuff and doing stuff that's going to piss off other clans, and I'll get into that later. So if you're a new player and you're still watching, you're in. You did it. You spawned at a bunker. You're near the fight. You can press N on the map, press spacebar to check exactly where you're at, and you'll see that we are in a contested area. We do have a bunker here, and you just look for the fight. That's all. If you press M on the map, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to give away intelligence to the enemy. If you press M, it'll give you a detailed description of little circles that are green, little circles that are blue. Those are players. You see where the players are, and you go towards the enemy players, you go towards the friendly players. Go towards the friendly players. Go towards where the fight is. If you press E on the bunker, there's equipment here for you to take. Take 1 rifle. Take 2 clips of ammo. Trust me, that's all you need. Trust me, just trust me. So obviously, Foxhole allows you to play how you want to play it, right? However, there are limitations in the games that are more along the lines of it's dev-intended content. So if you want to play how you want to play it, that's fine. If you want to take 20 clips of ammo, nobody's going to like you, and I wouldn't advise it, but you definitely can do that. It's a very trusted system, right? You can press C. Obviously, you can look at all the weapons, all the ammos, what we have. Different guns use different ammo. You can look at different grenades. If you want to play medic, you can get a medic uniform, get a trauma bag, first aid kit, get some bandages, some plasma, go out there. All you're doing is pressing tab, your inventory. You press 1, 2, or 3 to equip what weapon, you press R to reload. That's all you're doing. Go have fun. Now, remember, if you crouch and you aim and you don't move, you're more accurate. I think that needs to be said for newer players. Now, I'm not trying to be patronizing, but there are some things in game that are a little bit confusing when I see new players over here killing each other, potentially fighting over allied equipment, which I just saw that. I don't know if you could see it, but they were shooting each other to get each other off the equipment. That stuff's just not necessary. Just go have fun. Just grab a rifle, go shoot some people. If you want to learn more, continue watching the video. I'll explain it right now. So a lot of the things that you're going to see in Foxhole when a new player is a lot of these trenches and, you know, garrisons and whatnot, bunkers. All of this is player built, player dug. What I'm doing right now is I took a hammer and some beam mats. I noticed this was a little bit of damage done to it, and I'm just repairing it, helping out the war efforts, right? If you're a new player and people see you doing that, trust me, you're gonna like excel in this game really quickly. It's all for the bigger picture, winning the war. So Foxhole is a very team-orientated game. If you don't know what to do, all you got to do is ask. Watch. Hey, trash can. Hey, trash can? Do you need help with anything?
Yeah, I need help with some.
All right, got it. And that's how easy it is. So one of the good things about Foxhole, in my opinion, is you can log into the game and not have a team to play with, but you're never playing by yourself. There's always people to play with, and everything that you do matters, which is a double-edged sword. Every time you die, it costs resources or a shirt. Every time you build a little entrenchment, dig it out, or put up one of these little rifle pillboxes, it helps. It helps kill the enemy and protect the base. Every time you pick up a player and you take him to a medic or heal him if you have a trauma kit or a first aid kit, that all matters. You can even pick up a truck and transport logistical supplies. Now, if this isn't a logistical video, but if you do play solo and you do want to run logistics, one of the best things you can do is spawn in a location, go to a garage, either build your own truck or look around and find an unlocked truck, or potentially a seaport or storage depot, get a truck and transport what the front lines needs. How do you know what the front line needs? I'll show you right now. So if you press M, which I'm not going to do, I pressed N. This is secure map mode, by the way. If you look over at a relic base, what you can do is you can kind of see, you know, what supplies they have, what supplies they might need. And all you're going to do is you're going to make your way over. Hopefully you've made your way to a garage or a seaport. You found yourself a truck. And you look and see what supplies are in the seaport. You know, let's try to do something a little bit closer. Maybe there's a seaport in Lynn of Mercy. Okay, they got extra supplies there. Now, what does Mercy's wish need? Let's see. And all you're going to do is you're going to take that truck that you've gotten from the seaport, drive over with the supplies down to the Lynn of Mercy and deliver it. And that's all you're doing. The way you deliver it is you press E while you're in the vehicle up next to a bunker, and it opens up a screen. You right click it and you could submit it all without having to auto click and auto deposit everything. It's a really simple system, especially for new players, and it helps out a ton. I'll make a more complicated logistical videos later, but that's all you need. You know, you could do logistics, you could do fighting, you could do building straight out the gates as a new player. That's the positive. Another positive about Foxhole is that it's a persistent world, and it's a persistent war. The war is going on 24/7. We could gain, we could lose territory even when you're not playing. Now, that's a positive to me because it feels more lively when stuff's going on. There's a sense of urgency for me to get back and help my friends and make some of that free time. Video games are a time killer. This is a time killer, but I have fun doing it, and I'm making videos doing it, so you can too. Another really positive thing about Foxhole is their updates. They're constantly releasing updates. One of the most recent updates was the quality of life update that, you know, they made certain modification to facilities. So you have to click less because my finger's starting to hurt after a while doing logistics, but constant updates. I mean, we can look here and look at the activities page to how often they update. And every update either increases quality of life, or it adds something to the game, which is a bonus because you only pay for it once. I was going for like 30 bucks on Steam right now. Let's go check. And I know 30 bucks might be steep for some people, but it is a fair asking point for, you know, a game where a dev team is this active in releasing updates and improving the game. The game isn't intended to be played a certain way, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So what's bad about Foxhole? You know, if you look online and you look at the Steam reviews, or you go to the Discord and you look at players talking about the game negatively, a lot of that has to do with how the game is designed and or intended to be played. Not a lot of those negative reviews are going to be old players. There are older players that do have negative experience playing Foxhole, but typically speaking, a lot of the negative reviews, I would say, are from new players. And what's bad? The tutorial is bad. The tutorial needs to be fixed, and I'll show you why. So if you've made your way over here to the basic training area, and you're opening your map and looking at the basic training, you could look at the storage depot, the factory, construction yard, refinery, different resource areas where you can go and experience what kind of content's available in the game. What's bad about it? You're basically doing the same thing that you'd be doing if you just spawned in the world, except you're not contributing anything here. You're just as lost in the tutorial as you are when you're playing the real game. You could read the tutorial. Okay, there's no voiceover. Sick, there's no voice. Now I have to read this. Let's go over here. Oh, sick, look at more signs. Want to read that. Good thing I know what all this stuff is so I don't have to read it. Storage depot. Oh, what is all this stuff? What does this do? Let's read all this stuff. Let's equip that. Let's, you know, get some ammunition out that we definitely don't need for players who've been toiling over here in the tutorial zone. Let's look. Oh, it's a box? What does that even mean? Oh, looks like I can't use that ammunition. I have no idea why. It's like, who designed this tutorial? Now, after staring at the map for, you know, probably 30 minutes, you probably made your way over to Logi Training to learn about the logistical side, because you can't land a shot in the, you know, on the front lines. And you're here gathering scrap. Now, you just learned how to gather scrap. That's very, very useful. Except it's not useful because you're in the tutorial zone. Why are you in the tutorial zone? Just go do it somewhere else. Just do it in the main game. That way you're contributing. Transport that scrap over to a facility, right here, a refinery. Look at, I got some scrap. Personal, we don't want personal. We want to go to public. Why? Because if you go to public, it goes into the public stockpile so that everybody can have a little bit, all right? And if you want to keep it all for yourself, that's fine. Do an inventory full, load up your truck, load up your, you know, inventory, do an inventory load for personal. It won't take that long. You can wait for it to cook. You can grab your VMATs, use them for anything. And then afterwards, when you've gathered enough that you feel like you need, just switch it over to public and it goes straight to the public stockpile. That's the best way you can help the war efforts. And you can make anything. You can take salvage, you can make diesel, you can make explosive powder, or you can gather other components or different resources to share for a public stockpile. That's the most useful thing you can do if you're doing Logi harvesting. Now we're still in the tutorial zone, so we're still in the bad section of this video. However, we're here, I might as well show you. This is a factory. You take the BMATs that you've just gotten from your refinery, and you can make anything you want so long as you come with the appropriate BMATs. We're gonna just make one shipment of ammo. It takes 14 seconds, it's for the pistol. Why are we making it? Because we only have 40 BMATs. Why not? This is just a tutorial about how to work the salvage fields to the refinery, to the factory. Hopefully you had a truck. I'll show you where to make the truck since we're here. So another reason why the tutorial is bad is if you went down to Logi Training and there were no trucks there, there happens to be trucks there now, but if there were no trucks there and you needed to get a truck, you'd have to walk all the way up to the garage up here in order to make a truck and then drive it around. Why isn't there a garage down here? Just put a garage down there. Just put everything that you need for logistical training down here. And then put vehicle training up there. Make signs, vehicle training, or expand over here. Make some vehicle training over here. Make the garage like at the edge. But why is it not all near each other? Anyway, I digress. This is a garage. This is what it looks like on the map. You press E on it and you can see Dune Transport. This is the main truck used for logistical transportation. Dune load lugger. This is the main truck used for transporting and harvesting scrap. Fuel runner. This is the one that transports fuel, obviously. All you do is you just press E and you click on it, and you can now build it. You just need the appropriate amount of B-mats in your inventory and a hammer to hammer it away. That's all. So I've made my way back to time. This is behind the front lines in Speaking Woods. This is my little base that I made. This is not a good base layout or a good base design. I was just bored. I think it looks cool. All right, so everybody go ahead in the comments, talk crap about my base design. I think it's excellent. Let's hear what you guys think. But if you are a new player, dying right here, Social Seb Social Club. Come give it a visit. Come use this base if you want to use it. Come look at the resources. I have shovels here, hammers here. I'll put resources in there if you guys need anything to come and use and practice. You can come practice it in the base. You can come, you know, harvest scrap here. You can go to the sulfur fields, harvest. You can come cook it in the refinery and put it in a public queue. I need to do more of that later. But this is where you should learn how to play the game, not the tutorial zone, because everything's right here in time that you need to learn logistics. Again, this isn't a crazy in-depth logistical video, but if you are going to learn logistics, do it and contribute to the war effort, especially if you're a new player, because it'll feel better if you're contributing to the war effort, so you know you're contributing. Now, a lot of people say that there's a large learning curve to logistics, and there are when it comes to organization and big clans getting together, you know, coming up with Excel spreadsheets to facilitate and expedite incoming harvested resources and outgoing manufactured resources and vehicles. That's the learning curve. But when you're getting into it, it's fairly simple. You take a hammer and you go hammer out the salvage field. Some of them have salvage mines like right here that, you know, are readily fueled by, you know, more experienced players. And you could do it too. Go to the refinery, get some scrap with a hammer, take it to the refinery, put it in a public queue, get the diesel transported over here to the salvage mine. Bam, you got a salvage mine activated. You don't even have to feel bad about taking scrap. It is for everybody. Now, the salvage fields, they are built on by large clans, but that's so that they can expedite manufactured stuff and just ask permission before you take stuff, because people get a little touchy-feely. I won't get into that, but they do. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily that the logistical learning curve is a bad thing. It's just a complicated thing, right? It's easy to harvest resources. It's easy to drive the harvested resources to the refinery. It's easy to submit it and get whatever resources you need, take it to the factory, get those boxes, take them to the seaport, or drive them down to the front line yourselves. That part's fairly easy, and you should stay out of the tutorial zone and just get into the back line and do it in the back line for more experienced people to be able to organize it and transport it. Logistics is not terrible, it's just time consuming. But if you like it, you like it. One thing to mention that I can't just show you right now, it has to happen organically, is sometimes you'll just be walking around and you'll just DC and it'll take you to the home menu, you've lost connection. That's an issue. Sometimes people will be skipping on your screen. It's just a performance issue. It just happens in large scale MMOs. There's nothing you can do about it, but there are known performance issues that happen that influence the game. So hopefully people aren't neglecting that. I don't know if you can, but it's one bad issue. Now there's a more sensitive subject that I want to get into that people will probably have difference of opinions on depending on who you talk to, and it's the, you know, quote unquote gatekeeping by clans. I know there's a YouTuber named Swole Benji who hates this game because of the clans, and I kind of want to like go into the perspective of the clans. All the clans are operating under what I would probably call the bigger picture, right? So the bigger picture is winning the war, and if you break that down, basically to win the war you need logistics. And if you take 100 organized clan members that are in a clan that all cooperate and work together versus 100 solo players, and you give them the task to harvest resources and transport, but the solo players aren't communicating with each other, they're going to do it much less efficiently than if 100 players all in the same Discord using spreadsheets. And yes, it gets that complex. They are doing that. it takes them a lot less longer, and they can do it more efficiently, transporting all the goods and all the vehicles you need to the front lines. So that's one of the bads that I would say needs to be addressed, because if you read Steam reviews, or if you go, talk to new players or old players that have sour perspectives on clans because they only play solo, they might give you a different perspective. But the thought process and the reasoning behind that is a group of organized individuals can do it a lot faster and a lot more efficient. And if those 100 solo players are coming and bumping heads with 100, organized players, it's going to cause issues. It's going to slow down the already efficient group or organized clan. That's one of the bads, is in this game those groups do clash heads, and you do have a Steam page that has a lot of negative reviews. I would say more positive than negative, but you have those kind of reviews. I'm generally of the thought process that video games are intended to be played the way you want to play them. What is an issue is there are mechanics in the game that the devs have created that favor clan play, and that is a whole separate issue for a whole separate video. But if there is an issue with how the game is played, how the resources are distributed, how clans manage resources, I mean, these are intended mechanics, and the main goal is to win the war. And that, honestly, if you have an issue with that, I would probably take it up with the Discord. The devs monitor the Discord. I know they're active, and they do stuff to make changes to the game the way they want the game to be played, or the way they think the game will be successful. So I like the game. I think it's a fun game, and honestly, I support the devs and their decisions on how they choose which way to steer, Foxhole in the future. And I'm really excited for the new upcoming game, Anvil Empires. I think that game is gonna, unfortunately, I don't want to say it's gonna kill Foxhole, but I think the devs are releasing a game that is gonna compete so heavily with Foxhole that Foxhole players are just gonna go play that game. I would say that much. Anyway, the video was a lot longer than I intended, but if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you clicking on the video and watching it all the way through. This wasn't supposed to be an in-depth video on how to do anything, more a video just to get new players in there, because as of right now the colonials are heavily populated, and I know there are a lot of warden players that are just joining, that are new, joining the faction, and they need something to look at. They need to know that they could jump in and they don't have to spend hours in the training area. I want them right in the front lines, talking to people, contributing to the battle. And those players who want to run logistics in the back line. It's okay. Or run them on the front line. And you know how to do it now. You know how simple and how easy it is. You don't need to sit down in the tutorial and wonder what's right and what's wrong. Anyways, thank you for watching the video and taking the time to click on it. I appreciate any likes, comments, and subscribes.